Nestled among rolling yellow hills and ancient oak trees, just about halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco, is a very special place, the 14,000-acre Santa Margarita Ranch. Cattle have been raised here and vineyards tended since the 1700s, when Franciscan monks established the Santa Margarita di Cortona Assistencia mission. In 1999, 3 longtime local ranching and wine-growing families, the Filipponis, the Rossis, and the Whitstroms, came together to carry on that tradition while protecting and preserving the land and making some very interesting wine along the way. That is why when Hawaiian Airlines asked me to help create 2 new wines to complement its Pikaki service, I knew exactly where I wanted to go. Ancient Peaks Winery at Santa Margarita Ranch. So how many acres do you have under vine?
Under vine, just under 900. In the late 90s, the Mondavis leased a portion of this ranch from us and planted varietal wine grapes here. And since then, we've taken the grapes and created the Ancient Peaks Winery.
What makes this place so special to you?
You know, I was born and raised here in Paso Robles area and lived next to the ranch all my life. And it's the coolest spot in San Luis Obispo County North here. And in just 4 miles, you'll have 5 different soil types. The temperatures will range between 5 and 8, 10 degrees at certain times of the day. In the same vineyard, only 4 miles apart. So it's like having vineyards in different parts of the county with different temperatures and different soil types, and they're all in one place. So once those breezes start blowing in, these temperatures drop, and when they drop, it stops that production of sugar and forces the plants to focus on the grapes, not sugar, but more of the character that you really need to make excellent wine.
Morning or evening, the fog can roll in and envelop the land, keeping the entire vineyard cool and moist. Which is one of the reasons why this area, just 14 miles from the Pacific Ocean, is unique enough to have its own regional designation, setting it apart from all other Central California coast wineries. Most Americans don't know this, but you know, there's appellation laws in France and Italy and other parts of the world. And in America, they've created what's called the approved viticultural area. So in 2014, remarkably, this area received its own approved viticulture area, which is a big story, right?
Absolutely. The name of our region is Santa Margarita Ranch, which is named after our ranch. And currently we're the only commercial vineyard in that area.
Ancient Peaks Winery, Santa Margarita Vineyard, run by 3 families. Now that I've met the patriarchs of the 3 families, you know, it's pretty interesting. They're cowboys, they're cattlemen, they're macho. Each are successful in their own right. They're all A personalities, they're doers, right? So how does the dynamics of all that work with you all?
It's a pretty wonderful experience because each person brings a dynamic aspect to the company and a level of respect. And they care about one another. It's not, you know, a job that you're clocking into, and we're all collectively moving towards the success of the company, and I feel so privileged to be a part of it.
So you have a son.
I'm 4th generation, and my son will be 5th.
What do you want this vineyard and this winery to be for him and his generation?
More than leaving anything monetary, is really leaving the sense of empowerment and hard work and appreciation for the land. If he can walk away loving this place as much as we do, I think as a parent, I'll have done my job.
First time I came here, I felt welcome, at home, because of the family's open and generous rancho hospitality. It's not for show, it's a way of life. In Hawaii, we call it ho'okipa, the notion that we are all hosts and guests are to be treated like family. I can tell you that spirit is alive and well 2,500 miles away at beautiful Santa Margarita Ranch. Family, friends, good food, breathtaking views, and some terrific wine. This is an experience I won't forget anytime soon. Running a vineyard and producing exciting wine is a tough job. Harder still if you're doing it sustainably. The man that gets the job done is Director of Winemaking, Michael Seiner. Let's talk about some of your sustainable practices that you do here in the vineyard.
Certainly, yeah. Here at the Santa Margarita Ranch, from the very beginning, when the vineyard was planted, it was really that thought process, that endeavor was sustainability. Of all the acres planted here, no trees removed. Almost 900 acres planted, no trees removed. The vineyard itself is planted on 3 different parcels, and in between those parcels, we've allowed the wildlife corridor in order for the local animals to be able to continue on their migration routes. Something we've kind of gotten known for is vermicomposting. So we actually have our own small worm farm here. So we work extensively with compost teas, and really what it does is it helps bring all those fungi and all that wonderful life that earthworm has and bring it to the soil.
Without using chemicals, right?
None.
Now let's talk a little bit about the soils. How does that transmit to the wine?
Here on the Margarita Ranch, we've got 5 distinctive soil profiles. So as a winemaker, that gives me 5 different colors in which to paint the final picture of the wine itself. And so we've got Cabernet Sauvignon on all 5 soil profiles. And those wines, when made separate, taste differently. One of them is rubble. It's kind of a combination of several types. We've got the ancient seabed with a lot of fossilized oyster shells. We have a little bit of granitics here. And then the other one is a volcanic series. And then we have a little bit of Monterey shale.
And so the Chardonnay and the Cabernet Sauvignon are distinctly different as the vines planted in each one of these soils.
What I get to do and what I'd love to do is be able to work with these vineyards, these different blocks, being able to identify different flavor profiles. In the end, create a wine that's pretty exciting.
And exhibits a sense of place. Is that a big thing for you?
Without a doubt. That's what Ancient Peaks is about. That's what we are about as a company, is trying to express a sense of place. What we like to say is the story is the place and the storyteller is the wine.
You make 2 different wines for Hawaiian Airlines, a Chardonnay and then a Cabernet Sauvignon blend. The Chardonnay comes from 2 different soil types. So what does that mean? How do we see that in the wine?
For that Chardonnay, we end up using 2 different blocks. One of them is the ancient seabed area. It has a nice minerality to it. There's a nice freshness to that Chardonnay.
That's the fossilized oyster shells.
Correct. They call it the ancient seabed fossilized oyster shells. And that was one block. And the other block came from down where it has what we call rubble. So it's actually an ancient riverbed. So when we brought those 2 wines together, it just made it a luscious, wonderful, but still refreshing Chardonnay.
Okay, so we have Cabernet Sauvignon. You have 3 different soil types on that, is that correct?
Cabernet Sauvignon that we did came from the most northern part of the ranch. That has a different soil profile. That's a little more volcanic. So a little bit deeper, a little bit more mid-palate richness on that wine. We want it to be approachable. That's really our style, is make a wine that people like to drink. It respects place, but again, they want another glass after they have their first one. Cabernet, yummy, fun, and luscious.
For me, one of the really fun things when learning about wine is tasting the end product. And we're going to do that at the Ancient Peaks Tasting Room in Santa Margarita. It's a lovely little town that really hasn't changed a heck of a lot since the 1800s. So it's really interesting. We've done a collaboration with Ancient Peaks to come up with some very special and unique wines for the Hawaiian Airlines. So we're going to start off first with the Ancient Peaks 2014 Chardonnay. You know, when you're at a higher altitude, what do we want? We want something lighter and more delicious, right? Something.
Absolutely. A little bit more acid, pairs well with the cuisine that Hawaiian Airlines serves.
So this is the pikaki. We're allowed to blend different components to this wine, including a little bit of Petit Verdot, a little bit of Merlot, and hopefully you'll see the results of a wine that's much more delicious, much more elegant, lighter in weight, classy.
So the partnership that we have between Hawaiian Airlines and Chuck Furuya is a special one because we're looking at a philosophy for the types of products and services that we feature in the aircraft that really focus on connections and hospitality.
Yeah, so we try to look to work with families, right? Family-owned projects, and those that own their own vineyards specifically. And I believe that way they're invested from the ground to the bottom. And then We look for people that use heirloom and heritage grapevines. We also look for people that will farm sustainably, respect the land, and therefore create a living vineyard that can be passed on to the next generations.
It's sort of that same philosophy when we look at the wines that we're going to be showcasing on board, and the stories behind them mean as much as the wine itself.